Hello, welcome to another Gundam Battle Version 2 video. That is the new suit, I almost said the Delta Kai, but no, it's actually the Gundam Delta Kai. And yeah, I'm not sure if this is our final Delta we'll get, but it sure kind of feels like it. Everything's kind of been leading up to this, even though they're clearly spread pretty far apart between each other. But yeah. We now have the Gundam Delta Kai, which I believe is from MSV book, or I think even a manga. And basically, they put a lot of technology on this thing that was like on the Zeta and the Double Zeta, and it can pretty much crack your brain out. Like if you're an old type, it'll turn you into like a cyber new type. But yeah, I thought it was interesting to share because I've never really heard of this suit. I haven't really known anything about the Delta series. And but yeah, we'll go ahead and get to the stats here. Actually, I should mention I do have a match here for you in space, as you can see here, and I have tried this everywhere. I've had ground matches, including some on the new map Trenches, which be sure to check out spectator matches tomorrow. Definitely be playing plenty of Trenches. I've even played it, Arctic Base, City Ruins, a bunch of different maps, military base, big maps, small maps, you name it. A lot of people have been sharing their opinions on whether they think it's good or bad. There's some differing opinions. Some say that's like one of the best suits ever. Some say they can't even think of like an opinion. Like they got to get some more time with it because there are some things about this suit that's kind of a little bit off, a little bit weird. Because this is a 4-star general, and it's at 650, which is our second 4-star that's not at 700. The first would be the Bjarnlick Custom at 600. But yeah, let's get into the stats here. I already mentioned this is a 654-star general. Excuse me. And for stats, you have 18,500 health with 20 ballistic, 22 beam, and 21 melee resistances. You have 40 range strength and 30 melee strength. You have 130 movement speed with 215 boost speed, 75 thruster gauge, and 75 turning speed. And for your mobile armor mode, you will have 200 movement speed with 240 boost speed and 78 turning speed. And for slots, you have 16 close, 17 mid, and 15 long range slots. And this thing's a little bit on the I don't want to say like glass cannon side, or a little bit more weaker than other suits. It has 18,000 health with about an average of 20 resistances on everything. So I definitely went for a more general buff in resistances. I actually skimped on the ballistic and went for beam and melee resistances, and I did buff up my range strength by quite a lot, and I did a little bit of more melee strength as well, because this thing does have some nice melee. I think the neutral swing's pretty fast, and the downswing hits twice, and it's pretty fast to come out as well. But yeah, so nice, and you can do some different builds for this. I've seen some builds regarding thruster gauge, which is pretty helpful for this suit because it has a lot of different skills regarding how it can fly and how it moves in the air. That's really helpful to stay in the air, pretty much. And of course, you can do some other stuff, like basic stuff, like you maybe give it more health, So yeah, there's some builds you can do with this. Now on to the weapons. Starting off with the primary weapons, you have the Gundam Delta. I'm trying to say Delta first, but I know I'm reading Gundam, and I will say Gelta. Gundam Delta Kai LMB, which is 2,500 damage with 4 rounds and 450 range, and yeah, pretty basic stunning weapon. It does have a lot of range on it, and it does do decent damage, 2,500. So yeah, just a basic little stun there. Your melee weapon for this is the Gundam Delta Kai Beam Saber, which is 2,700 damage. Oh, I should say that for the beam rifle, you can use that, and I'm pretty sure it's the same thing in transformation mode, so you can use that in transformation mode. But yeah, for the beam saber, 2,700 damage. The neutral swing is pretty fast to come out, and looks like it hits lower first, so you can use that to potentially, try and smash some legs. The downswing, I'm pretty sure the downswing is the GPO-1's downswing. It looks very, very similar, and it does do some decent damage. It comes out pretty quick. You can use that for, you get a stun, go right into it. So yeah, you can do that as well. So yeah, nice little decent kit here so far. So for secondary weapons, you have the 60mm Vulcan gun, which is 125 damage per shot with 50 rounds and 175 range. And yeah, it does do some decent damage, 125. And I believe these stuns, it will stun at the halfway point, so I think that'll be around 25 out of the 50 rounds. So clearly you might want to throw in some other of your weapons here. That way you can get stun accumulation. Because, that's going to take forever in 650 time, Next weapon here is the beam cannon, which is 400 damage, 13% heat rate with 350 range, and you can charge this as well. And when you do shoot it, I believe it does a burst of four shots. However, it doesn't have too great a stun accumulation. Basically, it takes the first volley and then half of the second volley to get a stun. Which, of course, at 650 when you're fighting suits that have a bunch of instant stuns, not too reliable. It's good for adding on damage, right? Even though it is kind of low with 400 damage. You can charge this up to get a instant stun, which is quite nice. You can use that to combo with your LMB beam rifle to get a stun lock and then some decent damage out of it. It does increase it to like what? I think the most common thing I've gotten is like 2,100 damage when I get the full shot off. Maybe a little bit more. It depends on the resistances of the enemy I'm fighting, right? So yeah, it's decent. It will. If somebody's low in health, it can help get the job done. Next weapon is the high mega cannon, which is 1,400 damage, 100% heat rate with 550 range, and you do have to charge this. You cannot use this without charging. You see me using it here right now. And yeah, this is basically similar to like the Silver Bullet or the Dogen Wolves. They're charging, where you sit still, you charge it up. It takes a little bit to charge up, of course, so you probably don't want to use it at the beginning of the match where the enemy team can see you and shoot you, unless you're coordinating with the team hiding behind a corner, right? But it does do a good amount of damage, a good chunk of damage. You can hit all of it, and it does heavy stagger. So typically I'll use it in between when the enemy team gets wiped. That way, they're gonna have to force to use some ammo on me if they do manage to hit me, or if I'm hiding in a decent spot, I can actually just shoot them right then and there and take a good chunk of damage off of them, which is pretty nice, just like with the other the mega cannons that a lot of the suits have in this game. And finally, technically finally, you have the PF Funnels ×2 Pincer, which is 300 damage, 23% heat rate per shot with 200 range. Now, this thing sounds like it has low percent heat rate, but it is a one use. I say one use. It overheats after using it once. And basically, you send out your funnels, and they will make a shotgun-like effect. They actually fire volleys, but since the way it fires, it kind of spreads out. It looks like a shotgun, right? It shoots 4 hits per funnel, and yeah, 300 damage per shot, and it's very easy for most of the funnel shots to miss. But of course, if somebody's really close to it, it will just blast them all with that damage. Your funnels will shoot a total of 3 times, but if you use your Nitro skill, it'll actually go up to 5 times, which is that's a lot of damage to stack on somebody if they get hit with all that. I believe earlier in this match, you saw me use it on a Toadstritter, and he just absorbed a lot of damage, and it's quite satisfying to see it all whittle down, right? But of course, you want to combine this with other weapons to make the most out of the damage that you have on hand. Now, before we continue on, let's go ahead and look at what we got going on here in the match. Mission completed, and we'll see what we got going on here today. And hey, only on the board for getting shot at the most, but hopefully I did good enough. We'll praise the Cubelay because he did good in the Cubelay right now, and our support. And hey, third place, 3-2, over 111k damage. My bad, 115. But yeah. So for the beam funnels, like I said, you want to combine it with your other weapons. If you want to stun somebody with the beam rifle, so that way they can absorb some more damage or take more damage, or you can combine it with your beam cannon to get a stun accumulation, and then you can throw in your beam rifle for a stun lock, or you can go into your melee. So yeah, there's some ways to help with that with the funnels. And finally, you have a shield, which is the Gundam Delta Kai shield, which is 5,500 health, my bad. And it's considered a large size shield. And finally, well, it's funny because I said finally on the shield, but you actually do have mole armor weapons. You have the beam cannon while transformed, which is 300 damage per shot, 10% heat rate, and 450 range, and you can charge it. And it's basically a longer volley than the beam cannon on the ground version. Now the ground version does have 400 damage, so you have 100%. You have 100 more damage than while in mobile armor mode. But mobile armor mode, you can shoot more shots, and it seems like the stun accumulation is around the same, but since you're firing it all in one volley, there's no pause in between. It can be easier to get a stun that way, you know? And finally, you have the high mega cannon modified, which is 3,300 damage, and it's a 100% heat rate with 500 range, and you do have to charge just to use it. And yeah, it is the, oops, sorry, just moved my mic, that's not good. You do charge it up. It charges up pretty fast. Same with the beam cannon as well, and it will do a good chunk of damage. Again, 3,300 damage. Pretty nice for following up after a stun with the Arnya. You can use that to initiate a stun or to follow up on a stun, because it does charge decently fast. And now we're on to skills. For skills, you have a dodge roll, you have radar level 3, you have fall prevention system. So if you're in the air, it can be harder to stun you. So that way you don't fall down slowly, because you also have glide level 4, which means you can fall down slower in the air. You have flight control level 4, which means basically you can boost, jump, whatever in the air, combined with taking 50% less on your boost gauge when you boost in the air, which is pretty nice. You have quick boost level 3, you have balancers, you have ambac level 2, you have force injectors level 3, you have a melee combo controller, that's 2 melee hits. You have the ability to transform, of course. You have Psycommu weapon buffer, where your Psycommu weapons are on your back, you will take, I believe, 15% less damage while they're there, while you're not using them. You have backbinder cushioning level 2, I believe that's 15% less damage. And you have counter program level 2, which is what all suits that are 4-star will have a counter program where they'll get a unique counter when they're low on health. And finally, you have the Nitro system. Oh, no fun. I'll save that one for last, actually. You got some mobile armor skills as well. You have blast stabilizer, you have shock dampeners, you have transformation optimizer, which means if you transform and you get out of transformation, it'll take less thruster gauge. And you have high boost ram, which I believe you'll do more damage when you ram somebody, and you'll go faster after a while when you start your high-speed movement, when you start boosting. And then you have a new skill, actually, I believe, which is called Transformation Reinforcement. And basically, it's just damage control. I think it would be around damage control level 3. I think, if I remember correctly, let's say that you have to... Basically, for stun accumulation, if you guys know, you have to... Let's say there's a suit that does... it takes 2 hits to stun you. And let's say those 2 hit, like the first shot 50%, second shot 100%. The 100% is when you get stunned. I believe for transformation and reinforcement, it will take 50% more to stun you. So if somebody can stun you in 2 hits, it would take 3, right? And that can be helpful for the suit to stay in the air. It's basically damage control. It is, really. And yeah, you can just keep flying, So that's pretty nice. And finally, you have the Nitro system. Now, the Nitro system is an ability boost that will activate when you're at 50% health. I almost want to compare this to the Delta Gundam, where you have that one ability where you tank a lot until you reach 50% health, and then you just start dying fast. But this suit, you get 50 when you reach 50% health, which I believe would be around the 9,300 mark. You'll get these awesome looking flames around your body, and your weapons will overheat. They'll be faster to overheat, or get out of overheat, my bad. It'll take 30% shorter to get out of overheat, or it takes a 30% off the overheat gauge. All your weapons, even the ballistic stuff, I believe. Might be just the beams. It will also help you move faster. You'll move faster normally, and it'll help with mobility. And finally, it will also make your Psycommu weapons actually shoot more. As I mentioned earlier, your funnels will shoot 3 times normally, but with the Nitro system, they'll shoot 5 times in a row, and that damage can pile on if you got somebody stuck in a situation, which is pretty nice, And yeah, that's it for... Actually, I think there might be one more thing. I believe... Oh yeah, focusing. Focusing will also take a shorter amount of time to focus your weapons as well. So your high mega cannon, your beam cannon will take shorter to focus and get a charge, yeah, that's it for the Gundam Delta Kai, and I gotta say, having played a bunch of matches with it, something that kept nagging me when playing the suit is it didn't quite feel like a 4-star to me, and that's just going off just my opinion, something about it just doesn't feel. It definitely feels like a 3-star, but nothing about the suit really kind of wowed me in terms of damage output or insane mobility, staying like something like the Alice's. And that the XS is 3-star, right? So the Nitro boost system seems like something like, okay, yeah, that feels like a 3-star thing. Nothing about the suit really screamed 4-star to me. When I think of a 4-star, I think of how comparing it to the Beyond Custom, which is another suit that's not at 700, it's a 4-star. It has insane mobility and insane damage output. Or we compare something to another 4-star that's at 700. The Unicorn, where the Unicorn just basically turns into a raid and it can heal itself and just takes less and less damage as that NTD mode's really good, right? It can stay in the match for a long time. Or like the Banshee, where the Banshee has the actually, no, I should say more like XS. With XS, all that, it's really hard to stop the XS, and it can run up to you, heavy attack you from a mile away. Yeah, something about the Delta. Oh my god, the Kai. Oh my goodness, the Gundam Kai. I'm just purposely fucking up at this point, apparently. The Delta Kai was called Delta Kai for now. The Delta Kai, something about it just does not feel like a 4-star to me. The beam cannon, it doesn't have great stun accumulation. You have to combine it with your funnels, it feels like, to make it consistent, unless the enemy is just bad at hitting you back and you just get the stun first, right? Which you don't want to take that chance at a cost like 650 when you have stuff like the Rebabu around, which has 3 instant stuns on the hand. The damage of the funnels is not a whole lot unless you get somebody to stand still and they just take all the damage. The high mega cannon, you have to charge for a good while, and it doesn't do as nearly as much damage. Something like the it doesn't feel like it does as much damage as other suits, high mega cannons. It just doesn't really feel like a 4-star unit to me. And if you're one of those guys that has a bunch of tokens, like over like 300, 400, because I know some of you guys really save up, right? I would say go ahead and roll for it, just so you can have a 4-star, right? 4-star general. It does general pretty well, right? This can feel like a pretty nice supporting general where it can take take a few shots at the enemy team, help combine with a teammate to get some damage off, right? And of course, if it's at 50% less health, it can get off its weapons a lot quicker. Get some more damage off, But if you're somebody who's wanting to roll for something, you don't have a whole lot of tokens, I think I would wait on this one. It is out for only a day, and we'll have to see and see. We'll have to see in a few weeks from now how this suit will stand out compared to other 4-stars. It's not the worst 4-star, I'll say. It's definitely not the worst. I think it's pretty good, but honestly, it feels like this would be more of a 3-star. That's just me, though, having played a bunch of matches with it, But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe if you want. I'd really appreciate it. And type up in the comment section how you feel about the Gundam Delta Kai. Do you like it? Do you hate it? And again, I think it's a pretty good suit. I think it has its uses. It has nice. Again, it feels like a really good supporting general. It does general really well. I like that. It's nice. You can play it shooty. You can play it a little bit more close range. Get some melee off as well. The transformation, I should say that the transformation feels like a pretty good part of this suit, where you can stay in transformation mode for a good while. The weapons is very consistent on this suit when it's transformed. The high mega cannon charges up really fast, gets some nice damage off. Combine it with the beam cannon or the beam rifle, and again, with all the skills this thing has, it can stay in the air for a little bit, right? So you can totally do a thruster gauge build and just keep flying and doing a lot of damage. But yeah, it just feels like it's lacking in damage normally when it's not in transformation mode. Lacking in stun accumulation, something that I feel like the other 4-star units do a lot better. You know, something like the Unicorn, where the Unicorn can just stun you pretty easily. Or the Banshee as well. The XS, not the XS, the EZZ. You know, all these other 4-stars, I think that can just lock somebody down pretty easily. This suit feels a little bit more harder to do, even though it does have a instant stun to work with. So yeah, I think maybe they should buff some of the damage of the little stuff here, like the beam cannon and the funnels, just a little bit to see how it goes from there, right? But yeah, I think that'll be it, and I will see you guys later. Bye.